Oh, get down.
Yeah, I like this, honestly.
You know, it's a little poppy, fun, like horns in there.
Not a banjo in sight.
No. It's honestly kind of, I don't know, a little 1975-ish.
Yeah, I could see
A little
that.
bit.
I could see that.
Less British.
It's like an American 1975.
Yeah. 1776.
17. It's like the 1776.
Yeah.
It's easier to bite your tongue. Every time that you behave, every time you play it safe, you can feel it getting harder. Still, things to get better, to get better, to get better, but you're not sure if it's now or it's never, or it's never. If it's never been done before, maybe kind of framed it. But wait, if things to get better, feels a lot like settling. 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 Feels a lot like settling.
Live from the studio.
Studio. I'm Jimmy Selesky.
I'm Eric Glaeser. And we got a new cast for you this nice and,
Breezy is a little chillier than it has been.
breezy. But in a good way. I like the breeze.
Yeah.
The breeze is nice. On a nice little Wednesday cast for you. We haven't done a Wednesday in a while.
It's been quite some time.
Yeah.
It's a different vibe.
It is a different vibe. We usually do a tea day, a little Tuesday or Thursday. You know?
Oh, I know, baby.
Oh, you know.
So I figured you could pull off the introduction on this,
Again.
given that we're on the street.
We're on the
Your
street.
cousin.
My cousin is on the podcast tonight. Ryan Glaeser coming at you live from the studio.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
do you
live
no
in the
longer
studio.
go by Bug?
No, I do.
Okay, because I kind of wished you did.
My family absolutely all calls me Bug. I mean, when I was in high school, I had teachers that called me Bug. I had most of the people in the school thought my name was Bug. Nobody really knew my real name.
How did you get that?
So
We're starting way back.
okay,
Origin
yeah,
story.
we'll start right at the beginning. So when I was born, like a couple days after I was born, I was still in the hospital.
Okay,
And I was
makes
lying
sense.
down on my back, looking up at my dad, and he said I had my eyes open really wide, and it looked like I had bug eyes.
Oh, okay.
So literally from then, it's been Bug.
Wow. So you never
And
stood
then
a
word
chance.
spread.
No, never.
Word spread to everyone around town.
All around the hospital, they were like, "Have you seen this new kid, Bug?"
I mean, I was a Bug on WTMD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
dude.
So yeah, I had
Return
Bug
to
forever.
form. Back on the mics.
Yeah. Back on the air.
So you grew up, I guess, around here and everything like that. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Delaney.
Nice.
Unfortunately.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another rival cast.
Yeah.
A lot of tension in the air already.
I played lacrosse too, so it was really tense.
Now I'm just fucking.
Uh-oh, is it going to come to fisticuffs?
Lacrosse. No, that's awesome, dude. So at Delaney, did you? Because you went to what? Did you go to Taos University or did you go?
I did go to
Did you
Taos.
study for broadcasting there?
I did.
Okay, so you had machinations. I've been dying to use that word all day. You had machinations to do broadcasting from a young age then.
I don't think it was broadcasting. Actually, it never was broadcasting
Okay.
until later, until college.
Okay.
So I was always interested in music and production. And I'll tell you another story from way back in the beginning.
Perfect.
So my brother Jay and I, what we used to do is I was real into concerts and lighting. I thought lighting was so cool. So what my brother and I would do is we would go in my room and I had this fake guitar and a video camera, and we would get all the flashlights in the house, cover them in saran wrap, and color the saran wrap with different colored markers.
Nice.
And so we would, turn the lights off in the room and shine them up on my bed, and I'd pretend like I was playing guitar, and my brother would film it on the camera. So we're in there and we're doing this, and I was like, Jay, this isn't cool enough. Like, we need smoke. And I was like, I don't want to burn anything down, but like, what else could we get that smoke? And he was like, well, if you take a baby powder bottle and you squeeze it, it kind of like puffs out smoke.
Okay.
So we're like, all right, let's give it a shot. So we turn the lights on, got the flashlights up, and we start puffing the baby powder out. And it's great. It gets all in the air. It looks like colored, lights and smoke. We got this video on the video camera, like a VHS, and we're like, oh, this is awesome. My mom comes in and flips the light on in my room. My entire room is covered in a film of baby powder. Everything has this white tint. For like years after that, I'd be like moving furniture and find like another spot of baby powder.
Jeez.
But I was
the
always
birth.
into like lighting and production and
So when you say
music.
production, you're talking about like the like when I think production, I'm also thinking like music production, like the kind of ones and twos on the board as well. Did you study any of the audio engineering as well?
Absolutely, yeah. So I actually started in audio.
Were you in a sick Delaney High School band?
I wasn't in really any bands.
Oh, okay.
I was on the audio side.
Okay.
I had friends that were in bands, and I would go and do sound for them and stuff.
Okay.
I played in a couple bands here or there, played drums a little bit, but nothing ever like serious.
And how did you wind up at WTMD?
Well, I went
89.7.
to 89.7 WTMD. So I went to Towson University, and while I was there, I was in the EMF, Electronic Media and Film program, and I had to do an independent study and get an internship. And WTMD was on the campus at Towson at that point, and so I was like, all right, let me give it a shot. So I did that and started as an intern there. And after about 3 semesters, they offered me a little part-time job, and I kind of kept doing more stuff and learning how to do more stuff, and eventually got a full-time job after I graduated, and was head engineer for a little while, and then left to go do some other stuff. So
Now, would you agree with me if I said that I think WTMD, and this isn't me just being a homer, which I am, but I would argue that WTMD is one of the better, if not one of, I would say one of the top. I'm unfamiliar with other college radio stations around the country, but I'm in a band as I'm submitting stuff to college radio stations all around, and I feel like WTMD is definitely one of the more legitimate, like, serious. Now, I don't know how it was when you started there. What year would you say you started there, internship wise?
probably 2004.
Okay. So I know now they have that huge tower and stuff, and it's just like this crazy production thing. But was it anywhere close to that level when you started there, or did you kind of? No, it was really just.
Yeah, I mean, TMD was in the basement of the media center on Towson University's campus, and it was just honestly a room no bigger than this.
Nice.
The actual studio was smaller than this.
Sweet.
Good to hear.
But
I love it.
There were really cool people working there. This guy, Mike Matthews, was the program director. And he picked a lot of the music and a lot of the stuff that we played. And he just had a great ear. He works at WXPN in Philadelphia now, which is one of like the better or best public radio stations in the country. So he's there doing music for them, and he just picked cool stuff.
Yeah.
And in addition to picking that cool stuff that people wanted to listen to, I think TMD's always had that kind of dedication to Baltimore music and giving musicians a chance.
Absolutely.
I think that's part of their mission and what they've always been about, even from the beginning.
Definitely, I guess definitely the premier Baltimore college radio station of any that I can.
You're
think
actually.
of.
I'm gonna have to correct you. It's actually not a college radio station.
So what is it then?
So it's a public radio station.
Okay.
And it was and now it's different. When I worked there, Towson University owned the broadcast license, and it was like a separate entity that ran the radio station. Since then, they were bought by WYPR. So now they are they own WTMD now. So they're running WTMD. So it's not at Towson anymore.
Okay. Now when that purchase happened, did you notice any change in the kind of select? Because when they were a college radio station, did it feel like they were a little bit more in touch locally? Because I know it's kind of a sad thing with a lot of radio stations. You know, you hear about like growing up in like the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, where like, you know, local radio stations were really how a lot of like small bands kind of caught on. And then the unfortunate reality of that is you have these local radio stations that are all like, you know, iHeartRadio now, and there's no such thing really.
Well, that's kind of the good thing about WYPR. They're another public radio station. And so it's not being bought by some big company or something like that. And you still have the people at WTMD that were dedicated to that stuff. You know, Sam Sessa, he was the host of Baltimore Hit Parade, and he was dedicated to doing that stuff. Tyler Laporte, he plays tons of Baltimore music, and he's picking music up there now. So those guys are still there. So I don't see any of that changing.
Good.
It's
That's
not like
good.
they were bought by some big company or anything. So
Nice. Yeah, Sam Sass is a good dude. I heard that he is no longer running Baltimore Hit Parade.
yeah, he. I'm not sure what his official title is. He's doing like community events and stuff like that, kind of jointly with YPR and WTMD.
Okay. Now, what is your involvement with them now, if any?
My involvement, you know, Tyler's one of my best friends. I love everybody at TMD. You know, they were always a family to me when I worked there. So, but officially nothing. I mean, I think WTMD is going to be a media partner and media sponsor for Hot August Music Festival.
Yep.
But you know, other than that, we're all just friends.
Yeah, we haven't quite touched upon the elephant in the room.
Yeah, seamless transition.
Seamless transition.
So you know, had a festival land in your lap recently
Yeah.
on its
so
30th
Don't you hate
year.
when that happens? A festival
Yeah.
you're just walking around your everyday life, and then now you own a festival. You're just like, how'd that happen?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So I'll start a little bit back. I have worked on the festival when I was at WTMD. So I was working at WTMD, and WTMD has always kind of been part of the festival and done media stuff there. We did interviews and live broadcasts and things like that. So I started working at the festival through WTMD, and I got to know the owner, Brad Selko, and his wife, Trisha, and you know, they knew that I was kind of into the technical side and into production and stuff. And so as the festival grew, they kind of asked me if I could help out dealing with the bands and getting their production riders and helping with the sound companies and stuff like that. So I think probably since about 2007, I think was maybe my first Hot August festival. I've been working with the festival, and a couple years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago now, the original owners, Brad and Trisha, they decided that they were going to sell it. And at the time, I was like, you know, well, Brad's been doing it for, you know, this is the 30th year this year. So he's been doing it for a long time, and it's a lot of work. And
So 1993.
yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Just checking my math
It's
here.
We
been
have,
at Oregon Ridge the whole time, right?
It has not. So it actually started on Brad's farm.
Oh, okay.
And I have pictures from the original Hot August Festival, and it's, you know, a 10 by 10 pop-up tent is where like the band played, but you know, there's like 100 some people there, and everybody's having fun, and it just kind of grew from there. So I think about maybe 7 or 8 years, or even more than that. I'm sure it's on our website, but they moved to another farm for a couple years. And then a year or two after that, made their way to Oregon Ridge.
Now, what is even because you talk about like buying a festival, that sounds like such an involved process. You know, I'm assuming there's a lot of like, to set something like that up, I'm assuming it's not just you doing all the booking and the licensing and stuff like that, or maybe it is. I don't know. Is it? Is that literally? Is that
Kinda
literally?
laughing like it is.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say that's exactly what it is.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close. But
Well,
no,
it's you
no.
and your partner.
Yeah. So I have a partner, Robbie Cooper, who couldn't be here with us, but
Wow, yeah.
super cool dude, and he's, you know, helping me with everything, and you know, but him and I are taking everything on. It's a lot. I mean, you're dealing with some bigger name bands, and they have production riders and stuff you got to deal with, and permits, and dealing with the venue, and vendors, and all kinds of stuff. So there's a whole lot that goes into it, and it's absolutely a year-long process.
So is this kind of like, do you have any other projects? I'm run the risk of sounding stupid here, but like, is this like a full, like the production of this one festival at this point, is the festival large enough that this is like your thing, or what else do you have going on at the moment?
I have all kinds of things going on at
Nice.
the moment.
Yeah, because I feel like you have like a million things going on.
I do.
'Cause I feel like
I do.
leading up to this festival, I feel like you've done almost everything that's involved in a music festival. Like I feel like didn't you used to like manage bands?
Oh yeah.
You'd run a lighting production and stage company, Second
Yep.
Encore.
Yep,
like
still do that.
you have like there's so many things that it's like, okay, you're like a one man band that could technically.
Yeah, I need I need to learn how to sleep and not work,
Yeah.
20 hours a day. I have a day job too. I work at Goucher College.
That's kind of what I was getting at. I figured you got other stuff going on. I didn't know if you just had like a regular, but I'm assuming the day job is related to this type of field, or are you like a CPA?
Wow, you almost nailed it. So I work in finance in the controller's office at Goucher College.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I work in procurement and purchasing. And
Jeez.
so I
Actually
deal
in
with
HR.
numbers and buying and stuff and budgets and all that
Wow,
good stuff.
So that's why the number when you bought the festival, you weren't scared because you're like, Goucher pays.
Yeah.
Goucher does this in a weekend. Like that's all good.
No.
I'll figure it out.
It's it's wild. I don't know, but the festival, buying the festival, it wasn't just about the money or anything like that. I'd been involved with the festival for a long time, and I wanted to make sure that it just kept being cool.
Yeah.
That was one of the most important things, and Robbie will tell you the same exact thing. That's what he said to me. He was like, dude, if we make something cool, people will come. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Have you, now how long have you known Robbie?
Probably 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, that's okay.
So yeah, we haven't known each other that long, but we work together. So you mentioned Second Encore, my lighting business. So I also run a lighting company where I do lighting for concerts and festivals and all kinds of stuff like that. And Robbie and I both work at Union Craft. So whenever they have their indoor shows and some of their outdoor stuff and the anniversary parties, Robbie does the audio and he has his audio company and I do all the lighting. So him and I work together on that stuff, and I've gotten a lot of jobs from him. And
Now, Union Craft, that's the one down by like Meadow Mills and all that down there?
Yes.
Am I thinking the right place?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. And you had mentioned before the cast that, it's billed kind of, at least the way that it was pitched to me, this festival, is that it's like a bluegrass festival. But then we just listened to that excellent band, Ripe, sifting through all my other search results to get to that band Ripe. And how is that a new development? Have you guys kind of like drifted more towards just kind of being more inclusive of other genres, or has that always been a factor at this festival?
It's something that's kind of evolved, because this actually started as Hot August Blues. And it was kind of when it was back on the farm, it was a very just blues festival.
You guys are like, look at all this grass out here, and then it just one thing leads to another.
One thing to another, get some bluegrass. So. But it's kind of evolved to let's kind of branch out and do some other stuff, and as we moved to Oregon Ridge, it was like, okay, we're getting bigger. We want to continue expanding. What else can we do? And it's like, well, let's start trying some other genres and branching out. And, the festival did that, and Brad was really doing all the booking, Selco, the original owner, and he would book acts that, people might not know, but they were awesome.
Yeah.
And you could go to the festival and you could go for, one of the bands on the main stage, and you could end up at the second stage seeing some random band. You had no idea who they were. And that would be the highlight of the festival for you. So many times I hear that from people that have attended Hot August, that they're like, oh, I found out about this band because I saw them at Hot August and they were awesome. Andy Frasco is one of those people. So I don't know if you know Andy Frasco.
I do not, unfortunately.
He is
I hear he's awesome.
super wild. And, people didn't know who he was, but they saw his show and they were like, wow, highlight of the whole festival. He was awesome.
That's
And-
cool. It's like going back to WTMD, just like finding new stuff that you just want to give to people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think, the partnership with Hot August Festival and TMD works so well is because, our missions align so well. It's, we're playing such a diverse mix of music. Like you just said, we listened to Ripe, and then our headliner's Little Feat. That's like, an older kind of rock jammy band a little bit. And then, O'Teal and Friends, they're super jammy, like playing Allman Brothers and Grateful Dead type stuff. And, then we have Daniel Donato, who's like, Cosmic Country. So it's like bluegrassy kind of country. I mean, it's just stuff that, like I was saying, we don't have a genre. We just are booking cool, great music. And if we can put together a cool lineup that, we would be excited to go see, then I think other people will be too.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Now, besides the fact that it's in August, when is the exact date start to date end of this year's festival?
August 19th. So that's the day. We're a one-day festival, but we have 2 stages of music. We kind of stagger stuff so you're able to catch all the bands. And, like other festivals, sometimes when they have a lot of bands, they'll stack them and they get like 30-minute sets. All of our bands play at least an hour, up to 2 hours for the headliners. So there's plenty of time to make sure you get to see everybody playing, because really, I'm excited about everyone on this lineup. So even the people playing first in the day, I think are super, super talented. So
I like day festivals, dude.
Yeah.
I think when I've always had this kind of like aversion to longer festivals, because I associate the kind of like camping out with like people that annoy me.
I did all
It's
those.
also like after one day, I don't know if I've ever been to like a multi-day festival as like a guest, but like we did video for Made in America in Philly a couple years ago. And after the first day, you're like, I don't want to be here anymore.
It gets tough. I've done some Bonnaroos, and you'll be out at 6 a.m. still seeing a show, and an hour or two later the sun's coming up and it's 90 degrees. So how are you going to go sleep in a tent at that point?
Yeah, that's
Not going to happen. So yeah, but it's cool, man. And Hot August is also a family friendly festival. So kids under 12 and under are free, and kids can just come and hang out. We have a kids corner, and there's like face painting and a drum circle and all kinds of cool stuff.
Ooh, a drum circle. I can get into that. Little hacky sack going back and forth.
Oh yeah.
That's something I feel like I got to brush up on before I attend a festival, dude. My hacky sack
and
skills.
hula hooping.
Hula hooping.
Oh yeah. lots of that.
What's the where do people get tickets while we're throwing out the date and everything?
Yeah, hotaugustmusicfestival.com.
Hell yeah.
Not to be confused with Hot August Mucus Festival.
Yeah, definitely don't want to go to the Mucus
Not
Festival.
the ideal place
Not
to go.
gonna
It's August 20th.
That is my birthday, August 20th. Mucus Fest. So, going back to your world line, your time arc, your origin story, aside from your involvement with WTMD, I know that you, I don't believe any longer, but you did for a period, obviously, well, you were one of the people that started the stages up in Timonium, right?
Yep, yeah.
And we were at the grand opening, as we talked about before the cast. Still trying to figure out who that guy was, so we can DM him and be like, "Remember, you told us to give up on our dreams.
We got a neon sign now, buddy."
You were right. So fuck you.
Should have listened.
Damn. No, man, that was an amazing experience to go up there, and I went in that one room. I believe they call it a studio, and it was like it was so soundproof. I'm not even embellishing this. It was so soundproof. I literally got teary-eyed for the beauty of how it was like so cool to see something so much money get thrown at something to create something so dope. It was really impressive. It was truly impressive.
That means I did my job and made it sound good.
Nice.
Yeah, because you're a big part in like designing all those studios and getting the equipment together. And
Oh yeah, I mean, when I left WTMD to go and work on this stages project, and I came in when there was nothing. So I was just a consultant from the beginning, and it was just an idea. And so I worked with the owner to, find property to designing and, speccing studios to install and kind of overseeing the construction and everything. So it was, it was a good probably 4 or 5 year process.
Wow.
From start to finish to get it done. But yeah, it's an incredible facility and, put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, I bet.
So
I feel like you wouldn't even know it's there either. Like it's tucked away in the middle. I did a video shoot around there a couple of years ago. I think it was like, down the street from Stages, but it was just a nondescript warehouse too. But they're like one of the world's largest battery makers.
oh yeah.
They just make batteries there. They're like, oh yeah, these are the ones we're making for Ferrari. These are the ones we're making for Lexus and like da-da-da-da-da. Just all tucked away in Cockeysville.
Yeah.
For some reason.
In like that Hunt Valley area.
That's
There's
kind of
a
the
lot
way
interesting-
Cockeysville is, dude.
They're
There's
cocky.
a lot of sleeper cell stuff up there, dude.
Oh yeah.
McCormick.
They're
Sleeper cell.
McCormick's slowly taking over up there.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
But you
yeah,
can
dude.
smell them. You can sniff
You
them
can
out.
smell them. Not a big. You guys don't really smell too much at Stages, but yeah.
I can smell them in McCormick in my house at
Yeah, you can
Towson.
smell it down when they're doing like the garam masala type shit,
Oh, yeah.
like any of the very strong smelling spices. Yeah, I remember walking to school and be like, okay, yeah, it's a
Spice day.
it's a spice day.
Spring, baby.
Yeah.
So you got Hot August,
Yep.
August 19th, and what are the partnerships? Who's doing the food there this year?
So we're kind of looking into all that stuff right now. We haven't decided who's going to be there. We're kind of switching some things up a little bit.
Okay.
I think that's kind of been a little bit about like what we've been doing this year. So we came in and we redesigned the logo. We launched a new logo, did a new website, just kind of like freshen things up. So it's the 30th year. We want to kind of kick things off feeling fresh to move into another 30 years. So that's where we started with that. And I think, we'll change some little small things around the festival only to enhance stuff and just make it cooler. So we don't know who the food vendors are going to be, but we have Union Craft Brewing coming up and doing our beers. So we're really psyched about that. They're brewing up something special for the festival. So we'll have to see what that is. And, they'll bring some of their classic favorites too. So
If you don't mind, I might ask to crack into one of those unions if I
Please,
could. I
please
feel
do.
like a poser hack.
No.
Drinking Corona Light.
Yeah.
Yeah, get in here, grab yourself a Union Craft Super Jam. This was from their
over here,
10th
like-
anniversary.
I'm over here like, yeah, it's such a shame that people don't support local music anymore. Like Corona Light, this locally sourced brewery. Oh, this is a Bud Light. Okay.
I told you I brought a variety. There you go.
That's
Super Jam.
various. Super. I can't even read that. That's such a hippie font. I can barely even read it.
Super Jam.
What's your like not your favorite thing that you want to change, or like what's something that you're excited about, like putting your kind of fingerprint on the festival?
The lighting, dude. A lot of baby
The lighting,
powder.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of baby powder.
Saran wrap.
I wanted to kind of enhance the site of the festival some more. So just like add some more to the vibe. Oregon Ridge is such a cool place. It's such a great setting. And I want to just like enhance that a little bit. So I always thought the tree line was really cool, and I want to do something with that, maybe with lights, since that's kind of my thing. So
I thought you were going to say you don't like the tree line. You're just going to cut it all
Yeah,
down.
we're gonna cut it down.
those damn trees
Deforest
down.
Oregon Ridge. Get rid of the trees. Really
Yeah,
messes
birds
with the
are a little loud,
perspective.
so
No. I mean, I think just kind of like improving things here or there just to add to that cool factor. I think Union kind of brings in that coolness with them. They bring the cool, heady beers, and it's just kind of like a vibe that we want to create. And that's kind of the thing that I always liked about Hot August was the vibe about it. Like it's super laid back. Like I said, it's family friendly. People have like tents that they're just, hanging out all day long, and it's a very party, fun, friend atmosphere. It's super cool.
And of course, which I'm still kind of, if we can harken back to the whole kind of like origin story a little bit with the fascination with lighting. I think that's kind of because obviously you hear a lot about kids that, they're fascinated with like music and they're like playing guitar and stuff like that. Lighting just seems like such a it's such a thing, obviously.
Yeah.
But you don't really think about people that like are like, yo, I just love lights, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like
We're a strange breed for sure.
I remember like a while ago at like my brother's apartment, you had like some computer program where like you simulate lighting before you even do it. Like,
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah. So there's 3D visualizers where basically you can build, a virtual stage and put all the lights in there and basically build the rig.
But you'll like build a playlist that you can plug into your lights to be like, all right, now when the song
so
comes
you can
on
program
here,
everything and time code everything. So and that's how all the big tours are done. They're all time coded and programmed ahead of time. So when it's actually getting run, the LD is basically running their time code and making sure everything's working correctly.
Are you guys gonna get like a hologram this year? Maybe like oh, that was a
thought about
fake
it.
question, but you're really thinking about it? Okay.
Yeah, no.
hologram Kenny Chesney or something. Is he still alive?
Uncle
I don't know.
Cracker. You guys get the ghost of Uncle Cracker who's still
That
alive.
would be a good one.
That's sweet. Now, is Second Encore running the lighting for this production, or are you giving
Well,
letting somebody else take care of it?
I'm going to let someone else run it. It'll be a lot of our gear. So that's another thing with the festival, with Robbie owning the audio company, he has Old Line Audio, and I have my lighting production company. Between the two of us, we're saving money on production that the festival would normally be paying because we have all the equipment.
Yeah.
But we're going to hire other people, our friends and stuff that work for us to kind of run everything because we'll be doing many other things, day of.
Absolutely, dude.
So
I'm gonna crack into
crack
this
into
here.
that guy.
Official review.
So is that from the they had like the DJ party with Fred Armisen or something?
yeah, I ran lights for Fred Armisen.
How's that?
It was cool.
I heard he's actually a decent DJ.
He is. He was super cool. Like he showed up and he was like, what the hell is this stage? Like, I thought I was just going to be like in the corner, like with my iPod or something. And they're like, no, like you're up on stage. And he's
That
like,
is a
oh,
classic
okay. Like,
DJ.
geez, I better like do something cool. But he came out and there was a drum kit up there. So he did a little bit of his drumming stuff, which was pretty cool. And yeah, he played a bunch of funny stuff and had some banter in between songs, which was funny. And I think he closed with TLC Waterfalls.
Nice.
So
There you go.
it's like, all right, there you go, Fred. What's up, man?
Hell
I
yeah.
think we have a hologram idea.
Hologram DJ Fred Armisen.
There you go.
Just his iPad though.
Yeah.
He's one of those dudes that just genuinely seems like a cool guy. You meet a lot of you meet a lot of celebrities. I imagine what it's like to meet a lot of celebrities. And I imagine when I meet them, I'm like, this guy's a fucking dick. But he
Fred
just seems
was
like a cool
super
dude.
Cool. He just hung out and walked around the brewery all day. And, after his set, he hung out and he talked to every single person that came up to the front that wanted to talk to him. He sat out there probably for an hour. I was breaking stuff down. He sat there and made sure that he talked to everybody. And he was just super cool. He was so excited to be there and just a super nice dude.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
No, that is very good to hear. Now, I was going to ask how long before you consider selling out, but I'm not going to ask that, dude. The question on everyone's mind,
Yeah.
dude.
If
How long
Live
until you-
Nation comes knocking,
How long until you do that Fire Fest technique? Just gives everybody a slice of warm pizza on a paper plate and just take it from there.
Like I said, it's not about the money.
Yeah.
It's I want the festival to go another 30 years. That's all.
I imagine that's kind of like got to be the mentality that like you see something that's run by something else that you love, and then when you see that they're gonna sell it, you got to be thinking like, dude, I just don't want some other loser to buy this, And now you want to be in a position to be like, I'm gonna make sure that this thing lives on,
Yeah.
That's sweet. By the way, this is very good. And I don't really like sour beers, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna get acid reflux from this.
try a little sip.
Yeah, it's good. Union has a lot of great beers. They just put this party, like a sour pack out, the 12-pack that's delicious.
Yeah, it's not bad for a sour.
I'm wondering if it's supposed to be like a jam type of thing. Well, because it's super
Yeah,
jam.
it's
but if it's like,
what is it? Strawberry and passion fruit sour ale.
I got the strawberry, but I guess I don't know what a passion fruit tastes like.
I don't know if I've ever had a passion fruit.
I don't even know what that looks like. Probably mango-y.
It looks
yeah, I'm
passionate.
still on the fence if passion fruit exists, to be honest.
Yeah. You
If
think
it's
it's
like
like
a
blue
real-
raspberry?
I think it's a made up fruit, kind of.
It's fake news.
Because it doesn't make sense to me that like any one fruit would get to be called that. It's such a powerful name.
Maybe
you know?
it's like a brambleberry.
Now
Do you know what
brambleberry,
that
I
is?
certainly don't believe exists.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's just a mix of every berry.
Oh,
Like a brambleberry pie is like blueberry, strawberry, cherry, and
it's like a turducken of berries.
exactly.
Okay. See, I had kind of assumed that passion fruit was just an idea, like a combination of all the various fruits that would,
Fruits of passion.
fruits of passion.
Yeah.
Pineapple. What other fruits exhibit
Is
passion?
pineapple
Strawberry-
a passionate
strawberries are
fruit?
passionate.
Strawberry is definitely a passionate fruit, I would say, because it's just like something about a strawberry is sexy, which is why I didn't want to look up ripe on my. It was very important that we didn't go down this rabbit hole, but I had nowhere else to go, and now I'm over here listing the top 5 sexiest fruits, starting
I'm surprised
with.
pineapple was first.
It's not first because
It
I was
says
actually
spiky.
I was going 5-1, dude. You don't start off with the number 1 most sexy
Okay,
fruit.
you're going Watch Mojo style.
Yeah, obviously, dude. Honorable mention as least sexy fruit. I'm easily going kiwi, which it's not. It's the only hairy fruit. Are there other hairy fruits?
Probably.
Let's see.
I would say a jackfruit isn't that sexy.
I don't even know what that is.
That's the one that they like do meat replacement with.
Oh yeah, fuck that, dude.
Yeah.
I just got done being vegan for my 40-day Greek fast, and just something about like I don't know if you've ever been. You ever been like?
You ever been Greek before?
You ever been Greek
I've
before?
never been Greek before.
Not even like a
I'll
day.
have to try it.
Wouldn't recommend it. If you have the choice, don't do it. No, it's something about it. You said jackfruit is what they use for the
Yeah.
vegan
like
shit.
people do like pulled pork with jackfruit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I don't like the idea. My girlfriend was telling me that they use like beets to color it red, color the meat.
Yeah.
And then
For,
when I
like,
was
the
like
impossible
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
and I was cooking up this meat, and all I could think about was, yeah, this stuff isn't really actually red. It's like probably the color of dog food, and it was just disgusting to me. You know, that's why I will say that not to hate on. I know this is taking a really crazy left turn, but not to hate on vegans, but I've met very few people in my life that have stayed vegan. I know like a lot of people who became vegan and then they just kind of were like maybe a vegan for like a year, maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
And then they stop. And what's funny about the people who stop being vegan is when they become vegan, you know it. But when they stop being a vegan, you never find out about that. You kind of got to confront them about it.
Because they're like
I
relapsing.
don't think they want to
basically.
advertise it.
Well, they should, because it's like, dude, you were telling me for like the past 6 months that I'm not meant to eat meat, that this is wrong, that this is big fucking Monsanto convincing me that cheeseburgers are good. And then 6 months later, you're like, I see you eat a slice of pizza, and I'm like, wait a second, dude, what are you doing? And they're like, oh yeah, just not vegan. Oh, so everything you said for the past 6 months was wrong? You never hear it. We need a sequel to What the Health. 6 months later. What the Health? 6 months later. What the Health 2? Back on the grind. Which leads me to the third sexiest fruit. And I got to hand it to the grape.
Grape is sexy.
Very few
Grape
fruits.
on the vine.
Very few fruits do you get, fed to you while like laying down while somebody else fans you with a palm leaf.
I've never actually experienced that, but
Neither have I.
it seems sexy.
Much like meeting celebrities, these are only things in my fantasies. And eating grapes on a palm tree is one of them. Yeah.
How was Greekster?
It was I gotta say, dude, after not eating meat for 40 days or dairy, I really thought that lamb was gonna hit harder than it did. Like I also kind of like made up my own rules, and also so basically the rules that I tried to adhere to, because Catholics, what I call white people Easter, as you know, even though I'm also white by most accounts, is you get to pick. You get to pick your Lent.
Yeah, you pick one thing
You can be
that
like,
you're
oh,
giving up.
no Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, congratulations, dude. Hope you don't win a contest in third grade and have to succumb to the temptation, But with Greeks, they just tell you, no meat, no dairy. And then they also do this thing where they're like, you can only drink wine on weekends. But a lot of that stuff's antiquated, It's like, I'm not drinking wine. I mean, I might drink wine, but, it's not exactly giving some. If somebody was like, you can't drink wine, I'm like, no. For 40 days, I can't drink barefoot wine. No! Terrible travesty. But I kind of interpret that as I will only drink twice a week, and I will only smoke cigarettes when I drink. And I gotta say, within 7 days of that, I change it to I will only drink whenever I feel like it. And I will smoke cigarettes more often than that. And so that didn't work out. But I really did stick to the no meat, no dairy thing. And I even did the whole thing where it was like, I read this on one website. And I've never heard this before. But they were like, oh, yeah, but also you're not supposed to eat at all from the start until 3 days later.
Isn't that like, that's Ramadan?
Yeah, I don't know what website I was
Not
on.
Greek Easter.
I was on the ISIS website. I don't know what the hell I was reading. I just took from it that, I just like tried to find things. Because like the problem is like I'm not going to lie, I kind of got jealous of Muslims and Ramadan. I was kind of jealous because I was
Ramadan was big on social media this year.
It was big. Nobody really brags
Ramadan
about.
like snuck into the algorithm. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, they have a cooler, it just sounds more religious.
It does sound nice.
They're like, we don't eat from sun up to sundown. And whenever there's a sun up, sundown thing involved, it immediately is like, whoa.
That's serious.
This is spiritual. They are legit. This is legit. And so I was very jealous of that. And I was imagining myself talking to a Muslim person, describing my fast.
just imagining.
Just imagining.
I was daydreaming.
Fred Armisen, grapes, and speaking to a Muslim person. And I was just imagining just being like, yeah, man, how's your fast going? It's like, oh, I haven't eaten or drank anything in 12 hours. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I didn't have an omelet this morning. It's like, that's weak. That's weak as fuck. So I was like, I'm going to do like the real thing, which is the fake thing that I read on a website that sounds realer. And so I didn't eat for, not even ironically, 69 hours.
Throughout the whole
No.
period of Lent?
Just for 69 straight hours.
Wow. So you did like a 3-day fast or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And
How much of it were you sleeping?
I'd say about 8 hours a night.
Okay.
And I didn't even feel it really until so I didn't eat from Monday morning to Wednesday night.
Were you depressed? Was that the
No, dude,
ulterior
it was the happiest I've ever been, dude.
Okay.
First of all, you'd be amazed at the amount of productivity you can, you could probably take this into account. You got a lot of things on your plate. When you're not eating, you get a lot of stuff done. A lot of your day is taken up by eating. Thinking about
cooking, cleaning.
Yeah. How much time did I spend today just thinking about what I was going to eat? And then the actual eating took like 7.5 minutes. Mm-hmm. But I spent at least an hour being like, do I want Vietnamese? Do I want Thai? Do I want a sandwich? And then it was just like, oh, wait, when I was fasting. I was like, I don't want any of that. I mean, I want all that shit, but I'm not getting any of
Can't
that
have
shit.
it. I read it on that one website.
So let me start a fucking Facebook argument instead. Let me fucking yell at somebody on Instagram and get us canceled. That was, of course, during my fast. I believe.
That was during your fast. That
I
makes
think-
so much sense. Holy shit.
You think I normally have the time to type out that many paragraphs?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. 8 paragraphs in, I should have been like, oh, I bet Jimmy hasn't eaten anything today.
A little
He needs a Snickers.
cranky. He is not him when he's hungry.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
No, dude, it's pretty cool. But I really did think that when we got back to it, like it was gonna be like I was gonna eat lamb. I don't know what I was expecting.
Yeah,
like
I
I was
thought you were
like,
gonna have like a senzu bean
cum in my
reaction.
pants or something. Like I was, oh, sorry, first time I ate meat in 40 days. Like, you know, it was just I ate it and it was just like, okay.
It wasn't
Really?
like any more like toothsome or anything like that, or like
Not even close to more toothsome. Which is a great word that the Glaesers like.
Oh yeah.
Is that a family word? Did they pass that down to you?
that's in our family word of the day calendar.
Is that every Glazer's first word when you guys are born? Toothsome. Every family has their word, you know.
Yeah.
My
That's
family's
ours.
word is I don't know what my family's word is. It's a mispronunciation. Oh, our family's word is argument.
argument? Yeah.
Not argument. Argument.
Yeah. Which I didn't realize you said it that way until like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I've known Jimmy for I don't even know how long.
Since
20
we were
some
11
years. Yeah.
20
Or no, not 20. It's 19 years. I
19
guess.
years.
Yeah. Just realized he did argument with the soft G.
Our friendship is a sophomore in college. And just dropped out.
And it just dropped out.
Now you finished college, I presume.
I did.
What was your degree?
It was electronic media and film.
Oh yeah, EMF. How could I forget that
Good old
acronym?
EMF.
Now, did you do any like when you were working at TMD? You also you were like on the air a little bit too, right?
Yeah,
You did
yeah.
some talking, some speaking.
I did all kinds of shows. I filled in, the morning show, midday, whatever. And then I had my own show, Stuck in the Jam,
Nice.
and
Super Jam.
Played jam band type music, played a lot of Fish.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
a big
to,
Fish
To go
guy.
back to the lighting and where everything started, Fish was one of my kind of like big inspirations. So their lighting designer, Chris Carota, I always thought like their shows were incredible, and like that the production and the lighting brought so much to the whole experience.
Yeah, especially if you're on acid and stuff. You know, it's like
Absolutely.
You know.
Also, if the songs are going for like 20 minutes, you're gonna start noticing some of the other things
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Start
the lights are
looking
pretty
around.
cool in here.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was like I noticed other productions, and so I'll throw another band out here, so you know I'm not just talking hippie drug band music. Tool. I saw
Tool.
Tool at Bonnaroo, and I was like, dude. First off, the musicianship is incredible. Those guys are so good,
Yeah.
and the production.
I was gonna say I could see a production-minded guy really liking Tool because they are like, are they the original? I don't know what math rock is. I just know what it isn't. And Tool is not math rock.
They are not math rock. I don't know if they're the original math rock. Tool is just like extremely technical, and their writing and the songs are extremely complicated and complex, but they nail every single part of it.
Yeah.
And doing that live is just incredible. So yeah.
As a guy who's a fan of music, do you feel like there's too many genres? Do you think we get over specific? That's a very
I
big
say,
pet peeve of mine.
who cares about a genre? I don't want to
with you
hear
on that.
about genres.
Yeah.
The coolest things that I'm into these days don't have a genre. So look at, we were talking about Daniel Donato, who's playing Hot August Music Festival August 19th at Oregon Ridge.
Hey.
We
Seamless.
so yeah.
Perfect.
So we Robbie and I were at a show at Union Craft, and it was Daniel Donato opening, and we saw him play, and we we're like, what did we just see? Like, these guys are playing country twangy music, but then they're jamming, and they're also playing bluegrass, and then they throw these like funny covers in there. And it's just like, man, these guys were phenomenal. So we called their agent the next day and booked them. But, you know, that's a perfect example of one of these artists that there is no genre. Are they country? Are they this? And it doesn't matter. They're doing something cool and fresh and something that I haven't heard before.
Yeah.
And that's like what I think the festival, again, kind of brings to the area is something fresh, something new, something you haven't heard before, and something that you know is going to be awesome.
Totally. And I feel like just in general, music, because my brother makes like, I guess, hip-hop-ish music. And I would say, like, I always considered my band indie. But I considered my band indie
because there's no money in it.
Because there's no money in it. I was like, I don't make any money.
We must be indie.
We must be indie.
We're broke as fuck.
We're not signed.
I'm a white guy. I play guitar. I'm indie. And then I realized indie doesn't just mean independent. Indie has become its own sound. And I don't know. I almost feel like the sound of indie doesn't really. I guess what I'm getting at is like all the genres seem to be melding together in a weird way. Like if you listen to hip hop now, there's so many elements, especially of like the early 2000s pop punk in there.
Oh yeah,
like there's
and
a lot.
There's
of,
emo in it now.
Yes.
There's like
There's a lot of songs that you're like, dude, this could easily be a Blink-182 song, but it's like a beat instead of a riff or something like that.
I mean, well, you see so many of those artists like collaborating and these different collaborations and stuff. And, you know, hip hop, that stuff, everything started with, you know, roots music.
Yeah.
And everything kind of based on that. You know, the theory of music and time signatures and things like that stuff doesn't change. It's never changed.
Yeah.
So all the genres that we have today, we're really all drawing from the same kind of blues roots genres. They just kind of all took it different ways, but they all started in the same place.
And it is interesting just to think about, like, you know, country music particularly. A lot of people have this aversion to country music, and I think that it's particularly present. Probably, obviously, there's a lot of people that just like, you know, if you're a hip hop guy, you're just like, dude. The big thing on Facebook, people will always say back in the day on the Facebook days, would be like, you know, when they had like your musical preferences and stuff. You know, Instagram doesn't really do that. They don't really. Social media has kind of gone like MySpace is literally like completely customizable and like every little thing, and then Facebook was like kind of like what LinkedIn is now. Yeah. Like when I look at a person's LinkedIn page now, it reminds me of 2008 Facebook. You know, just the way it's kind of lined out, and you're just like blah blah blah, musical preferences. You know, and it's like a lot of people just be like anything but country, and you're just kind of like, you know, so much of. I also feel like that's probably present a lot with the bluegrass people as well. I would imagine that because they're looking at country as the pop country. And they're going like, this isn't real country, you know? And I can see that. But at the same time, you know, as a person who's performing out, country is one of the more fun, pop country, like popular country, is one of the more fun genres to perform because it's one of the few very popular genres that still heavily employ real instruments in a lot of ways. Sure. You know, live drums, real guitars and things like that. You know, you don't see that a lot in modern pop music, but I feel like that's kind of coming back. For the longest time, like, you know, when Wrecker changed to the Torrent Lounge for a while, sure. There's seen in the early 2010s or the 2010s as a whole, there seemed to be this kind of move to like everybody would, EDM, you know, not EMF, EDM, dubstep. Oh, yeah. And like everybody was real into that. And where they have those, everybody would post Dub Nation, stuff like that. Everybody had their
or
picture.
Like raves and shit.
Oh,
yeah, stuff like that. And it was like this big thing. And it was kind of like, you know, I've imagined for a lot of like bands, it was like, well, what do we do now? Like, what do we do?
Yeah, it's tough. The like bass music explosion just kind of took over everything. Mm-hmm. But I think you saw bands kind of adapt, and you saw bands like Lotus and the Disco Biscuits and, you know, Pretty Lights and people like that, okay, you know, Pretty Lights is a great example because he was just kind of a DJ and really just producer making electronic music, and he really just built a band around it and incorporated everything.
Yeah.
So I think you started to see stuff like that, where bands were like, all right, well, how do we play this kind of music? And so you start seeing the band instrumentation with electronic type music, which is cool.
And it's also it's emblematic of just how you watch the evolution through time of how that stuff always worked. When you really sit down and you think like, if you really consider like, oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you're like, dude, that was like, I guess like the number one hit of like 1901 or something, or 1852 or something like that. Like, first of all, it's kind of crazy to think that like back before recorded music, they just had like certain jingles. They were like, this song fucking rocks. I think the oldest written song that we actually have evidence of is Green Sleeves. Green Sleeves. It's a good song.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then of course the number one song, I would say of all time, that influenced basically the entire chord structure, melodic structure of so much of modern American pop, or just Western pop in general, is Paco Bell's Canon, dude. And you just see how all that stuff evolves, and you kind of trace back the roots of bluegrass and country to like some, the pioneers or whatever, if they're just like playing on their chariots or not chariots. I'm thinking of ancient Rome.
Yeah. The Colosseum.
Yeah.
They're gold panning down there.
There's gold in them there.
I don't think there was any bluegrass there.
No bluegrass in ancient Rome. A lot of lutes, a lot of lyres. That's why I like the Ren Fest, because I see those guys at Renaissance Fest playing like some ancient instrument, and I'm not gonna lie, there is a part of me that's like, dude, you are so good at that lute. Just imagine if you played a real instrument. Imagine if you took it down from 17 and a half strings to 6 and just saw what happened, But people are really into that, dude. Sometimes I'll accidentally run across like some weird it'll be like pumped up kicks by Faucet People done in like Old English style.
Yeah.
In Old English. And you're like, wow, this sounds kind of dope, But just seeing how all the music evolves and stuff like that, and noticing that really music kind of probably wasn't ever supposed to have genres in the first place. Because I think so much of genres, if I'm thinking about it, comes from just melding different cultures. So like in Greece, for instance, they had different time signatures, like the Zibekiko, which is like a 9/8 time signature. It's also interesting to look into just how, which is a guy that likes Tool or something like that. Like they do a lot of experimenting with those kind of like strange time signatures,
Yep.
And what I think is super cool is when a band, like a pop band, is able to make a song in a strange time signature, but make it so pop friendly that you don't even notice. Yep. Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. That's in 3. Now, 3 is obviously the second most popular time signature besides 4, but it's not immediate. You kind of, if you're not listening, it's like 1, 2, 3, bop, and I don't want the world to see me. But it wouldn't hit you as a waltz.
Right.
And then you think of freaking, obviously Rush did that a lot. Limelight is in like 7 at some points.
Yeah.
Salisbury Hill, Peter Gabriel. Climbing up on Salisbury Hill, boom, 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 boom. I can see the and it's like, I think it's cool when you tell people, you're like, dude, did you know? Like, count it out with me. And it's like, that's real talent, because I think that it's easy. I always said this, and I'm about to say it again. It's easy to be different. It's not hard to be different. I could get naked right now, run out in the middle of the road, and get a lot of attention. Why? Because it would be different. What takes real skill or talent is to be unique, but do it in a way that's like authentic to you. But also, if you can take your unique approach to still making something pop friendly, instead of having that thing, I always hated that pop music in general has this negative connotation. If you say like, oh, that's pop.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's wrong with pop? It's popular. Sometimes things are popular because they're good, you know? And if you're just one of those people that's like, oh, that band got too big, I don't like it anymore. It's like, why? Because you wanted to be the only, what, did you write the fucking song? No. So you've put your entire fucking identity into this band to make yourself unique. And then once other people liked it, then you realize that you've lost your unique identity. You know, I'm kind of coming off as a maniac right now, but it's like, it's true though. It's true. It's like, just because something's like, just because country has incorporated elements of pop music and hip hop does not mean it's not real country. It's just called the evolution. What do you want? Hank Williams Sr.? You're cheating hard. Yeah, that song's good.
Yeah.
But you can't be, you want to record into a fucking Campbell's soup can now?
Well, and that you know, you bring up the Campbell's soup can. That plays
that was
such a
gonna be the
role.
thing.
This plays such a role into it. So technology and options.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back in the day, you didn't have so many options. So a lot of things sounded alike, and it was easy to put them in these categories
Mm-hmm.
because they all kind of sounded similar because those were the only options you had.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people are making music with the craziest things. And they sound different and weird and electronic and this and that. And it's unimaginable, like the possibilities of sounds
Yeah.
that people use.
Have you heard of Fred is Dead?
Oh, yeah.
The way he'll just like use phone recordings and just like random clips of like a night out and add in like taxi cabs going by and then just to make like an EDM hit is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why the other flip side of that argument is people that kind of argue that like, oh, if it's not with real instruments, it's not real music. It's like, that's stupid too, dude. Because it's like, now we have the technology to create like synthesizers. And, well, we've had that technology, but like the ability to not just create different melodies and different like chord progressions and arrangements, but also the ability to create entirely different soundscapes and things like that.
Dude, I'm going to get real deep on you right now.
Uh-oh.
All music is just a vibration of the air.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite quotes of all time from the man himself. I kind of wish it was unknown because quotes by unknown are the best, but this we know is Einstein. And he said, trying to explain the complexity of the universe through math and science is like trying to explain the beauty of a symphony by simply explaining the vibrations of, you know, how stuff is working. It's like, there's this, like, it is kind of weird. I was talking about that with one of my bandmates, Joe, that like all the things that we perceive of as like in tune, out of tune, harmony versus dissonance. Like when you think of like the fifth above the tonic or whatever, it's literally just a mathematically symmetrical vibration that your ear perceives as like, because it lines up vibrationally, you perceive that as like beautiful or whatever, which is so strange. And it's so strange that like music, there's two things that have always like kind of bogged my mind. And obviously music, like we're talking about, just the idea that like certain sounds and just can convey emotions that are kind of indescribable. And if you've ever been in a situation where you're writing a song, and a lot of times when I think for some people, depending on how your approach is, you either approach it by writing the lyrics first, then you write a melody to it. I think probably it depends. Like if you're like a lyricist, primarily a vocalist, that might be the way you do it.
Right.
I feel like for most musicians, it's reverse. I think a lot of musicians are just kind of like coming up with these melodies, these chord progressions, these kind of ideas. You know, they're playing a song, they're just kind of mumbling, bah, 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 and there's like random words that don't. But it's like, if you really get into the creative process, I always describe it to them. I'm like, dude, it's kind of like you're almost, it's not like you're writing the lyrics. It's like you're kind of figuring out what like you're discovering the lyrics.
Translating what the sound feels like.
Exactly. And that's such a strange thing to kind of conceptualize, that like when you are playing a song, you know, somebody will show me like Joe will write a song and he'll show me a demo or something. And then we'll both be sitting there trying to come up with lyrical ideas. And we'll both, he'll be like, well, like, what do you like? What is even your concept here? Like, what are you picturing? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I'm kind of picturing like I'm sitting on like the roof of like one of those like downtown rooftop things in the city and like I'm watching like the end of a sunny day, you know how like it's like a real sunny day, and then like during the summer there'll just randomly be like a 30-minute thunderstorm just out of nowhere, and I'm just picturing being on like the roof of a deck and like everything's coming in and like that storm hits. He's like, dude, that's exactly like where I like what I was. It's such a, it's like, but that was all conveyed just through the music itself.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think is really interesting to kind of hone in on is like, I would say humor is another thing that's kind of like interesting in that thing, because it's one of those reactions, one of the few reactions, laughter. It's like this uncontrollable,
Involuntary
is a better word, like just kind of like visceral thing you have when something is funny. But if you ever really tried to hone in on like what is funny, what makes something funny, you're like, you can try to explain it a little bit. You can be like, I guess like if somebody like says this and then you say, but like you can't. That's why I call it a sense of humor. You have a sense of humor, but it's hard. You can't.
It's like, how do you describe funny without saying funny?
Exactly. It's just funny, you know? And it's like, why of all the different responses that we could have as human beings, is laughter one of those? You have crying, right? That's another kind of thing you can't control unless you're a fucking man. And then you have laughter, you know? And I think that on some level, it's probably this thing that we learn because we are social beings, that evolution through the time, we kind of just like, it's kind of like a way of saying like, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Like when you're laughing, when everybody's laughing, it's like in that moment, you know that even in that exact instance, it's like kind of like a checkpoint to be like, okay, we're all on the same page now, because we all experienced that thing in the same way, you know, and we saw the humor in it or something like that.
Yeah.
But again, it's like those little things like music are so indescribable. And I think that's why so many people gravitate to things like music. I think that's why, you know, they say that all art aspires to music. I think most musicians wish they were comedians. I think that there's like I think there's always a little the grass is greener syndrome on everything. The only thing, as we've discussed before, like with music, is like it's one of the few things that you can just kind of do in the background and have it still be there. You know, like you can create a vibe with music. With comedy, it's like you require an attentive audience. You need people to be listening. But with music, it's just kind of there. And it's like, even if you're not paying attention, it just fills everybody and puts you, and it's such a thing. I always say the two things, music and lighting. When I walk into a fucking place, like a bar, and the lighting is weird, like it's too bright.
Yeah.
Like, what am I at a 9 to 5 office job right now? This is a bar. Dim it down, dog.
Yeah.
You know? And it creates such a vibe. You can, like, if you're working in a bar and like the second you kind of dim the lights down, it is the equivalent of putting music on. You ever, like when you walk into a bar, there's no music, or like you walk into like a takeout place,
Like weird.
and you're like, I can.
or like an elevator.
Yeah, an elevator.
Like it's too quiet.
Great example. It's just different ways of like bringing everybody to the same level. And lighting really is one of those things, dude. I mean, it was God's favorite thing. It was the first thing he did.
Mm-hmm.
Let there be light, baby.
There you go.
And then I don't know.
And then brought in the baby powder.
Brought in the baby powder. Let there be baby
Let
powder.
there be haze.
He was like, if I want baby powder, first I got to create babies. We'll get to the powder second. No, man, that's really sweet. It honestly is. And I'm going to personally, I'm assuming this festival is not sold out.
It is not yet.
Thank the Lord.
Hell yeah.
Tickets are moving fast, but you know we have a big space, so we're gonna have a big party out there. It's gonna be a great time.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I might even get a tent.
Ooh.
I probably
That'd be
won't.
cool.
I probably
Okay.
won't get a tent. But the
Did
tent's
you
a
already
big.
have one, or?
No. I think I have one. A tent and a sleeping bag are things that I think I have. But that just means they're things that are probably at my parents' house. You know? I'm assuming at a certain age, when all your possessions are in your own house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But until then, it's like, there are things that I definitely have.
They exist.
They exist.
Somewhere.
Exists, yeah.
I just don't know if they're technically mine anymore.
Your parents got squatters' rights on the tent.
Yeah, dude. I mean, to be fair, they did buy it. You know,
Yeah, very fair.
I always thought that was weird when people would be like, "Oh, my mom owes me money." I'm like, "Does she owe you money?"
No.
Your mom owes you money.
She owes you.
Let's break out the fucking finances here. Let's see who owes who right now.
Let's see. Birth. 40,000.
That's a big deduction.
That's a big
dude.
one.
That's a big one, dude.
It's a write-off.
How did tax season go for you, man? You getting audited?
No, I'm good, man.
You sure?
Yeah, I do my own taxes. That's
Me
how I
too.
know I'm good.
That's how I know I'm
That's how
not
you know
good. That's how I know I'm not good.
No, you gotta pay your taxes. The only two things that are certain in life are death and taxes, my friend.
That's true. Who said that? That's another great one.
Unknown.
Is that
Unknown.
unknown coming in. It's the number one quote of all time. Yeah, dude, it sucks. I did my girlfriend's taxes yesterday, and
Did she do anything nice for you? Because I saw my brother and mom over the weekend because they dropped off a wheelbarrow at my house. Mm-hmm. So I like started. Obviously, I bought the house and started to do some landscaping and yard work.
Look at
But
you, buddy.
Alex
All
came
right.
by and was like, "Oh yeah, I was over at mom and dad's house washing their cars because mom did my taxes." And I was like, honestly, it's a fair trade-off.
Yeah.
I kind of cashed my points in for just like get out of any argument free for the next 3 days.
There you go.
Like if I could get like a gift card.
Is that how you got off the phone so quick?
Yeah, kind of. It's like it's kind of hard when somebody does your taxes to be like, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, I can't believe I
You
just
only
did your
made
taxes.
this much money last year.
I can't believe you consider that a qualifiable deduction. It really puts you in a state of mind, dude. That's a very vulnerable position, dude. I would hate if somebody else is doing my taxes because some of the stuff I was
yeah.
writing off was questionable. Let's say questionable.
Questionable at best.
Questionable, and that's not an incriminating statement. IRS. It's just everything's questionable.
Sure.
Are cigarettes
You have the answer though.
deductible? Do I buy them for the studio where I conduct business?
Do you smoke them
You
at
do.
your shows? Yes.
Do I smoke them at my shows? Do I do free Camel Crush giveaways at my shows? Yes, I do. I absolutely do. And therefore, that is a business expense.
There we go.
Do I offer people cigarettes as a way of securing business deals? Not yet.
But that's a good idea.
It's a solid
For
idea.
next year, yeah.
For next year. I'm going to ramp up. I was just surprised it wasn't already in TurboTax as its own category. Nah, man, that's crazy, man. It is. So you legit just do them yourself. No accountant? I feel like with you're running all that stuff, it's like, how are you doing that?
It gets tricky. But
Are you like TurboTax and all
keep
that?
track of it? Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, I run the LLC for my lighting business just through my, my own taxes and stuff. And I have my wife and kids and I file everything and just get her done.
Wow.
Luckily,
That's
working in
Larry the
finance,
Cable Guy.
I'm able
That's
to
literally the cable.
Yeah.
keep it together.
That's what his motto was about.
Yeah.
Get her done. Pay your taxes. That's very admirable, dude. I think that at this point in your life, obviously, you are a legitimate businessman, a tycoon.
I don't know if I've earned tycoon.
Not yet?
I do own two businesses.
You're one top hat away from a tycoon, dude.
Is
Yeah.
that's a qualifier?
That's
Three?
So,
definitely
maybe a monocle.
a monocle.
Okay, I could rock
don't know.
that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, what is a tycoon? I mean, like, if you're not.
What the fuck?
Did she just say that's what I thought?
That's what I thought.
Everyone was
Siri thought
scared
that
of-
you were a tycoon too.
Everyone was scared of
maybe
AI
I'm a
taking
tycoon.
over the world, and in reality, they just programmed AI to be a fucking bitch, dude. Leave me alone.
That's what
Just
I
a
thought.
yes
That's what I
man.
fucking thought. You're talking about that's what you thought. Of course, that's what you thought. You are artificial intelligence. Jeez Louise. But yeah, man, it's like you're running a festival, you're running a lighting company. How many businesses does a man need to run before he can start referring to himself as a goddamn tycoon? You already pronounce Oregon like Oregon. That's a major step.
That's true. That's true.
That's a major step.
I think I just decided that, and I guess I been thinking about this for a while, and but it really kind of set in with me during COVID. I'm just going to stop waiting for things to happen. You know, like I'm not just going to sit around at my job and just hope things get better.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and do something about it and make it better.
Yeah.
And I love my job at Goucher, you know, don't get me wrong, but I want to just do more. And I wanted to do stuff with lighting, and I wanted to do stuff with the festival. And so I started the lighting thing out of nowhere, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to do lighting. I didn't know anything about it. And I, you know, found someone that I knew how to do some basic stuff. I met with them 2 times, and they showed me a couple things, and the rest I just taught myself.
Yeah.
And I reached out to Hartford Sound, and I just said, hey, I don't know anything.
I know those guys, by the
know
way.
some
Steve Wozniak. Okay.
Yeah. Steve's a great guy, and Evan is the man. I love those guys. Zach.
Yeah.
They're super cool. Yeah, I freelance and work doing lighting for them a lot too. But yeah, I mean, Evan gave me some of the coolest shows I've ever done. And I just hit him up out of the blue. I didn't know him at the time. And I just said, look, I'm trying to get into this. I've taught myself some stuff. If you have some work, let me know. And he gave me a couple of shots, and like my 3rd or 4th gig with him, he was like, so you want to go do Firefly? I'm like,
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
a couple shots. You're like, just had 2 shots.
So
I'll do it.
I'm sitting at Firefly doing one of there's like campground stages, and I was on the south stage, and we have like, you know, Louis the Child and all these other like huge names coming in, and I'm, you know, running lights for him. So it was cool.
In shows like that, did they like pass you like a thumb drive? Like, this is what we want our show to look like? Or are they just like, just give us the regular degular, like
It all kind of depends. Like these stages where they were like short daytime sets, so it wasn't like Louis the Child's main performance. Like they played on one of the main big stages, and they had their lighting guy do his whole time code thing. And you know, their lighting guy, Louis the Child, he's actually another huge inspiration for me. Christian Jackson, he does a lot of like the dubstep and electronic stuff, and just the control that he has over the machines, because that's what they are. They're machines. They're little robots. The lights, they're just little robots that you're controlling and telling what to do. And the control that he has over the fixtures to match the music is just incredible. But, you know, Louis the Child does their main stage thing, and they have their whole big production. So it really varies, you know, where you are. If they bring an LD, a lighting designer, if you're just the house guy doing it. But that's actually, that Firefly gig was the first time I saw Ripe, who was playing at Hot August Festival now. And it had poured down rain. I didn't think we were even going to have them perform because they had shut the stages down. And then out of nowhere, they were like, all right, it's clearing. You guys can start playing. And we're like, all right, well, where's the band? And they pull up, and we got them up on stage in like 10 minutes, set their gear up, and we're like, all right, let's go, because we don't have much time.
Yeah.
And they got up there and just threw down, like rocked it. And these guys were awesome, so much fun. And, you know, I always kind of remember that, seeing them. And then when this festival came up, I was kind of looking for bands, and I was like, maybe I'll check out what Ripe's doing.
Totally, dude. And that's kind of like, I like what you said there, where you say like, I'm going to stop waiting for things to happen. And I think that is such a major mental jump for everyone, you know, because you kind of go through life. It's either the clichéist, which I will obviously state first, version of that is when people talk about just the idea of being an adult, you know, and how you get older and you realize, you know, everyone's just a grown-up kid or whatever. But just understanding that, like, in reality, you don't just become an adult at a certain point. You become an adult when you start acting like an adult.
Right.
You know, and like, one of the biggest things that I guess my dad kind of pushed me into was, I'd always said I want to be a professional musician. And I was kind of looking at like other random jobs that I was going to do. I've been working in restaurants for years and stuff. And then when I got fired for my 3rd one in a row, I was like, maybe I should get another restaurant job. And then when that idea was shot down, the first kind of awakening was my friend Sean was like, dude, have you ever considered just not being a server? And what was crazy was like, the answer was no. The answer was legitimately no. I had never really considered just not being a server. I had always kind of imagined that I was just going to be a server until I wasn't. And then it kind of hit me all at once where I was like, oh, this is how you stop being a server. You have to stop being a server and do something else. And then I was going to get into like insurance, like doing like, you know, obviously big insurance guy over here.
Yeah.
And that was my dad. Was like, dude, my dad calls me dude. He was like, dude, not rad of you to do insurance. Like, if you're going to be a professional musician, you just have to be one. And so figure out where you get started on that and just start there. And then you do it, and like this, all these mental blocks pop up in your head where you're thinking like, I don't know, like I don't want to be the guy that plays at bars. You know, I don't want to be the guy that's like playing Matchbox 20 at bars, even though that's exactly what I want to do. But it's like you put in all these mental blocks because you're trying to plan every single thing out. And if you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel from where you are there, then you just go, nah, that's not worth it. That's not worth it. But in reality, just like what you're talking about with your lighting thing, you decide, I'm going to do this. And then what's crazy about when you make a decision like that, you take that first step, you have no idea what that second step is going to be like because you don't even know what the situation is going to be when you have to take that step. All these different things change. All these different variables come in differently at different times. And you're just like, oh, so now you're in a position where like, now I'm doing this. And now all of a sudden this thing that I could have never foreseen before I made this decision, now I'm presented with this new opportunity. And so really the only way to do anything is just by starting. You know, which is not a crazily profound thing to say, but it is such a mental jump for people to just understand. Like when you're trying to do anything, I think it was a big thing. Like obviously with music, a lot of people with acting and stuff. There's always this kind of like Hollywood mythology that like you're gonna be working at Starbucks, and then somebody's gonna be like,
someone discovers you.
yeah, you get discovered.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not how life really works. And unfortunately, it doesn't really make for a great movie when you just truly, if you talk to most people that are successful and you go like, so when was the moment when you would say like you made it? And they're like, I don't think there really was a moment. It's not really how that happens.
No, it was
like,
the years of hard work.
Yeah.
That's what made it.
You're slowly making it. And what's crazy about that gradual process is at no point do you ever, because everything becomes your new normal. Even think about with COVID, how quickly things became normal. Like things that if you were to explain to somebody 2 weeks before everything shut down and we were all going to be wearing masks and stuff, that this is going to be a thing, like, dude, no fucking way. Yeah. But then within 2 weeks, it was crazy to imagine a person walk into a place without a mask. It was like, that's the new normal, you know, which was the phrase they said all the time, you know? And it's like when you're gradually progressing through life, gradually improving consistently, your threshold for what you consider to be your baseline level of success also moves up too. So in this weird way, you never actually see the progress you've made because you're always comparing it to right now. Kind of the same way when you look in the mirror every day, you don't go, damn, dude, I look way older than I did yesterday. Yeah. But then you look at a picture of yourself at 21 years old, you're like, oh, damn, I look way different. But you're looking at yourself every day, you know? And so you don't actually see it happening. And then all of a sudden, but that's the other thing you run into, which is if you're the kind of person that has that mentality where like, which you don't strike me as this type of person. I could be wrong about this, but you know, the type of person that's like never satisfied, never content, always feeling like they're not doing enough. That like the problem with that mentality is then you'll never be happy because there's always more to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's like that. I think it's just, you know, the first thing you said about just doing it, just starting it, having that confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. And like you said, when I started out, I didn't know anything about doing lights or you know, running big concerts and anything like that, you know, but you got to just go out there and try it.
Yeah.
And put yourself out there and, you know, give it a shot. And maybe you're not always successful. I mean, I've tried other things and not been very successful at it.
Yeah.
You know, but this, I just was like, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And I just, like you said, took it step by step. And I didn't know what the next step was going to be. But when I got there, then I figured it out. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's what everybody's doing. everybody's out there just figuring it out. Everybody, wants to like idolize people or put people on a pedestal, but that's just another person that at some point put themselves out there to try something new, and they just happen to be successful at it.
Yeah.
So, my advice to anyone trying to get into music or anything is, put yourself out there and try it and find out, whatever you want to be. You wanted to be a musician. I wanted to do lighting. Figure out how to do that job.
Yeah.
Figure out who's doing that job already and hit them up and say, hey, what did you do to get here? A lot of those people, I'm pretty sure will tell you exactly how they got there.
Yeah.
And you can learn a lot from people.
Or in our case, you could start a podcast and trick people into coming on and telling you about how they got there.
Learning all their secrets.
Which is really the original concept of this whole shindig.
I see.
Thanks for the advice. No, in the words of Nike, just do it, dude.
Yeah. You got to put yourself out there and try something. And, if something's not successful, then don't give up either. Like, you can't just sit in your job and wait for something to happen. Like, you could just sit there forever. And, when do I get to the point where I'm not a server? It's when you decide that you're not a server. You have to take an action because no one's going to do it for you. And I think that's kind of what I realized. And, I just decided, look, if I want to do something, I got to do it on my own. And I just got to make an opportunity. And so I kind of did that with the lighting thing and built this up from nothing and built this into, I make decent extra money. I could almost leave my other job.
Which is,
And now you're, Hot August Music
and then,
Festival,
to
August
take it on the
19th.
festival.
yeah, dude.
August 19th.
And that's the other thing. It's like you learn, you kind of learn who you are in that process too, because it's like, I'm sure when you first had the idea of doing the lighting thing, you probably didn't necessarily, you probably could have, if somebody was like, yo, what do you think about owning a festival? You might have been like, yeah, that'd be cool. But like at the time, you're just thinking about the next step in front of you, which is I'm going to start this lighting business. And then you don't, you kind of, then you look back and you're like, wow, like kind of even with this studio. The studio is built just to like record music and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
like shoot our like YouTube videos.
Yeah. And then the podcast was just like an idea we had while being in the studio. That idea would have never happened if we didn't build the studio first for something completely different. So you kind of like find out not only who you are, but what you want, because I think, if you got everything you ever wanted, you'd be married to like your kindergarten crush. You like, it's kind of funny that like you think you know what you want, but you don't really know what you want. And you kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's like you start a lighting business and now you're owning a festival and it's like, did you know you wanted that when you started the lighting business? Probably not.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think I always kind of thought I wanted to do something in lighting, but I never thought I could.
Yeah.
I never thought like I could own a business or I could own a festival. I never thought I could do that. I just thought, those are festival owners that do that. I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
But anyone can be that kind of person if you want to make yourself that. Like I said, just go out there and figure out how to become that thing that you want to be and work to do that. And make that thing the thing that you're passionate about, because that's always going to be the thing that you are going to be best at, is the thing that you're most passionate about, because you will always give, 120% towards something that you're passionate about.
And that is what another one of those intangible things, like we talked about music, we talked about humor. Another one of those intangible things, which Passion Fruit kind of got away with by becoming Passion Fruit. I don't remember voting for that. But just, you can sense authenticity and you can sense passion. And when you go to certain things, like I imagine if you go to a festival like Coachella now or Bonnaroo now, there's an element where you get this sense that like, yeah, obviously this started as like this very authentic passion project of somebody's vision, but then as money starts coming in and more people start getting involved, it becomes this thing that it becomes bigger than the person who started it and bigger than the vision, which is kind of the critical mass that you always kind of have to walk the tightrope on. You can't let your creation become bigger than the vision. You see that a lot with food businesses that franchise out. And then all of a sudden you have 17 different locations, and just all these locations, none of them have that original kind of like concept of like what you wanted in a bar or how you wanted that pizza to taste when people ate it and stuff like that. And so it's like for a lot of these festivals, there's such a corporate kind of canned element to it, which is kind of why I was saying earlier I've never been into them. But talking to a guy like you and talking about things like Hot August, where it's like it's so obvious to anyone listening to this, but even more so than that, it would be obvious to anyone who went there that this was not created to be a cash cow. It wasn't created to be this like, you know, how can I advance myself? It was created because it's a guy who's like, this is the shit I like, and this is the thing that I think is awesome, and I want other people to experience that with me, which is what any great thing ultimately is, whether it's writing a song or writing a joke or making a pizza or whatever it is that you do. As long as you never lose touch with that, then it's beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
So Hot August is beautiful. You hear that, world?
August is a little hot up near Oregon Ridge
Hot,
this
but there's
year.
nice, cold, tasty beers.
Ooh.
From Union
Brought to you by
Craft.
Union Brewery.
Yeah, this podcast is brought to you by Union Brewery.
I actually
assume our
saw
check is in the mail.
the sign up on Union facing 83 the other
On the
day
building?
for the festival. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, for
For Hot August, yeah.
nice.
Already promoing it. Good
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, man,
But,
it's going to be a really fun time. You know, it always is. Like I said, the vibe is one of the coolest things about this festival because, like you said, there's not that corporate vibe.
Yeah.
It's super chill and mellow, and you know, everybody's just enjoying themselves. We don't have problems, or you know, we don't have to kick people out. You know, generally, it's a really fun time.
Is weed going to be illegal by the time this starts?
I
think
believe
it is,
so.
yeah.
You guys going to have a weed vendor? You thought about that?
So we've had cannabis sponsors in the past, and we will this year. Chesicana Wellness is going to come back and be a sponsor of ours again this year. But I don't know. Nobody knows what the legislation is.
Yeah.
We haven't seen what the laws are. You know, they're kind of still figuring that stuff out. So I don't know. I imagine it's going to be tricky because Oregon Ridge is county property. So I don't know, you know, how that plays into it, or what the legislation is going to say anyway. I don't know if you know, cannabis vendors can do pop-up stands like that. You know, I don't know. So we'll have to see. But, you know, we've always been friendly to them, and they're friendly to us, and we're happy
I always
to have them
assumed
on.
as long as you call yourself cannabis that you can kind of get away with a lot because it just sounds professional.
Sounds friendly.
It
It's not
sounds
like
medical.
not like that dirty
Yeah.
weed. He's smoking that weed.
Yeah, cannabis.
He's a cannabis
It's
user.
cannabis.
Cannabis.
It's like, wow, well, this can't be anything wrong with that. He's using the scientific name for crying out loud. Yeah, that's going to be a crazy thing to imagine, you know, when we're like, I don't know about this year at Hot August, but, you know, down the line, just weed, just being like, you know, you walk up to the beer vent. I don't even like weed. I'm just looking forward to I'm just looking forward to everyone
looking forward
else.
to going to like a concert and being like, $9.
$9
$9 for
weed for a bong rip? Jeez Louise. Weed is getting out of hand. Oh, obviously they're going to be marking it up.
Yeah.
You know? I can't imagine when they finally legalize acid and then you can really put on these fish concerts and you just got like an acid vendor.
I mean, they already have those at Fish concerts.
Yeah, I think it's a guy named, I forgot his name. It's like one guy.
Sketchy.
He's walking around. Chaz maybe.
Chaz, it sounds like a good name for that.
Definitely a guy. I
Yeah,
don't know
that
if
would
he's got his
know.
paperwork filed though, unfortunately. Maybe a little holographic ghost of Jerry Garcia.
Maybe. Yeah. Who knows? You know, that's another thing that is cool about Hot August Festival that's happened in the past a lot is there's a lot of sit-ins and, you know, people sitting in with different bands.
Yeah.
So who knows what kind of crazy stuff will happen. I don't know.
I foresee John Mayer coming to Hot August one day. I don't know why.
Cool.
It would be fucking cool.
He's in a band right now, Dead and Company, with O'Teal, who's going to be at Hot August. So maybe O'Teal will call him up, be like, "Hey, Johnny Mayer,
Johnny May.
come on down to Hot August."
You want to check out Hunt Valley, the Hunt Valley region?
He wants to come to Hunt Valley, dude. He wants to.
There's a Wegmans there.
He's.
John Mayer's down with the
I don't know if he ever really has come to Baltimore. Honestly, I think most artists kind of like to just skip right over us. You know,
Yeah,
go to
people just
DC.
go to DC.
We are inconveniently close to DC, where artists are like, why? I'm gonna just go to DC. Because anybody in Baltimore, including myself, if it's a guy I really want to see, I'm like, A, I'll go there, and B, I don't really go there that often, so it'd be a nice excuse to go to DC. You know, it's crazy how close we are to DC, and just I know nothing about that city.
Yeah, I'm not a big DC guy. I don't know much about
neither.
DC. I mean, I know some of the cool venues and have been there, but I'm not a city guy, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah, I'm more of a, mountains guy. I just recently went to Charlestown, West Virginia.
Ooh.
Races and slots.
Killer trip.
I thought you said racism slots.
That's
Racism slots. Racist slots and racism slots.
I got 3 Jews. Oh no,
Well, that's good.
that is good. Jackpot. Charlestown racism slots. Gotta love it. Yeah, I don't know why, man. I was when we were talking just now, there was a little fucking hocus pocus talking in the back of my mind that was like, John Mayer's gonna be there one day, and it just went straight through my brain, no filter,
Came out.
right into the
That was
mics.
the universe.
Yeah.
And I could see it, dude. He plays blues, and he is, again, much like weed. I'm not a huge John Mayer guy either, so this is not a biased opinion
Yeah.
at all. I just could see him playing Hot August, dude, and making one of those very self-indulgent Instagram posts right afterwards, like, this is such an awakening experience to be here at Oregon Ridge Park and play in front of all of you. I could see that, you know?
All right. I'll work on it.
Yeah.
Just, whatever you got to do.
For next year, you know.
For next year. I'm not trying to build this up too much.
But yeah, I think we've done a little over an hour. We can
Done
we can
much
start
more than an
wrapping
hour.
things up. If you want to run through the promo one more time.
Yeah.
At Bug WBUG Glaeser.
WBUG Radio. Hey, all you out there in Radio Land.
Did you put on a voice?
you put on the voice?
WTMD?
No.
I feel like I'd listened to a couple times when you're on the air, like in my parents' cars.
Actually, I lied. There was one time. There was one time I put on a voice. My Stuck in the Jam show. It happened to fall on Halloween, so
so it was spooky.
I did this show as Count Bugula.
Oh,
And I
I
did.
love that.
Ooh, welcome to Stuck in the Jam.
I love that.
Count Bugula. So that was my Halloween show, and I did a voice for that. But that was it.
I think there's some Romanian guy.
We gotta do some Halloween shows on this podcast.
Oh, yeah. We've gotten a little Halloweeny in the past. I think we have our scream masks over there. Just
Yeah,
waiting for
we did.
Halloween.
I don't know what kind of weenies have been going on in here.
Oh, there's
There's a
more,
couple different,
more than is necessary.
yeah. Just look at the ceiling. There's some weenie marks up there.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God. Count Bugula himself, the host of the Hot August Festival.
August Music Festival.
What's the website?
It's hotaugustmusicfestival.com. You can get your tickets on there. They're the early bird ticket rate right now, so they get more expensive as we get closer to the festival. So you might as well grab them now because you're not going to want to miss this lineup. It is stacked. We are super psyched. We have Little Feat headlining, O'Teal and Friends. So O'Teal, playing a lot of Allman Brothers and Grateful Dead stuff. He's got a killer band with him. Steve Kimmock, Dwayne Betts, Jason Crosby, so Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Oh.
David Crosby. It's his son, Jason Crosby.
Okay, dope.
John Kimmock,
John
Lamont
Mayer. Future.
Ripe is on there. We heard they're super
Feels
cool.
like settling.
There you go. See, obviously the song's catchy.
Yeah,
It's catchy as fuck, dude.
Daniel Donato's Cosmic Country. Do not miss that set. Those guys are absolutely killer. Chris Jacobs giving some, Baltimore love. He's a good bud. Happy to have him back.
Okay.
Karina Reichman, super cool. She's a chick bass player.
Nice.
Super kind of weird band, but a lot of fun. Sunny War. We got Natalie Brooke and the Infinity Tribe.
Love it.
So that's a cool band. They're playing earlier in the day, but you don't want to miss them. Gator from Pigeons playing ping pong is in that band.
Nice.
A couple other local guys here from Baltimore. So super cool. And then Jonathan Sloan Trio also on the lineup, rounding it out. So killer music all day long, literally from the beginning acts. Jonathan Sloan Trio is a group out of DC, killer kind of rock and bluesy act. Natalie Brooke, she's getting the nickname or I guess
chick name?
her chick name as Synth Mama. She plays this cool synth and keytar.
The keytar, yes.
She crushes it, man. So that band is awesome, and those guys are playing earlier in the day, but still absolutely killer.
I love it, dude. One more time, the website?
hotaugustmusicfestival.com. Tickets on sale now. Kids under 12 and under are free, so bring out the family. It's family friendly. Have a good time. Union Craft Beer out there. We'll have tons of great food vendors, a bunch of craft vendors and tie-dye t-shirts and all that hippie stuff. And
love it. I'm assuming these shirts are for purchase.
yeah, so we just, this one is like the prototype. I literally have 3 shirts. That's it, and this is one of them. So I don't know. Does it look cool? Should we?
It
go?
looks
It
cool,
looks
dude.
great.
All right.
I love the new logo.
Then we'll rock.
It looked so cool that I didn't even know that you were wearing your own shirt. And that's a good.
That's
That's
cool.
a very high
That's pretty
compliment,
cool.
I think, because
That's
normally
pretty
when
cool.
somebody's wearing their own merch, you're like, that's the first thing you notice.
Yeah.
You're like, nice shirt, bro. Where'd
Yeah.
you get it? You. But that's a sick shirt.
Here you go.
I might have to rock multi-tonal blue.
Yeah,
Gotta love
I'll get you one. The next run when I print some more, I'll bring one.
Nice.
Up
I want mine as like a vampire cape, kind of like a little Count Bugula spin.
Okay. All right.
Bugula.
We'll get you a custom.
Thank you. Custom Hot August, dude. Here with Ryan the Bug Glaeser, Eric's cousin,
Hell yeah.
and I guess that technically makes you my cousin-in-law. So congratulations,
Yeah,
dude.
good
Yeah,
stuff.
we're
We're all
married.
family.
married to the game.
Exactly.
And on that note, folks, where can people find you specifically on social media?
Just Ryan Glaeser. Look me up. Second Encore Productions is my production company and lighting company. My partner, Robbie Cooper, you can find him, Old Line Audio. Check us out. We're doing all kinds of cool stuff, and we're really excited for Hot August Music Festival this year. And I want to thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks
You
for
can
coming
This
also
was a super fun time. And
you
just
can
a
also
cool
find
conversation.
Robbie nestled up in bed because he is a little sick, as I hear.
Yeah.
So get better soon. Is that the thing people say? Get well soon.
Get well.
Get well soon. You don't have to
Get well.
Be
you don't-
better.
You don't have to get
Be
better.
better.
I just want you to get back to normal, dude. You're sick and we're like, why aren't you better than you were before? Get better soon, Robbie. That's really cool, dude. Eric, any plugs this go around?
Just add Eric Glaeser on everything. We're doing Hot Set in Richmond, I think, in July or August. I forget. I
Hot
don't know.
set at Hot August.
Hot set, hot August.
Maybe. I don't know.
That would
I
be
could do some comedy in between acts.
Honestly, I've tried that before, and it's always I get so
Train wreck.
depressed. Yeah. You're just trying to do a joke as someone's like breaking a drum kit down behind you, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
You guys stop paying attention. It's all good.
So that's a
no.
resounding no. But we still got John Mayer on the table.
John Mayer is still a possibility.
Somehow John Mayer is more of a possibility than Eric at the festival, which
No,
is
I
saying
think I'm
something.
gonna try to come out. You asked if I could take some photos and stuff
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm down to I'm down for the cause. But no, yeah, keep an eye out for the Richmond dates for Hot Set and yeah. Jimmy, what do you got going on?
Swellioso, folks. It is 420 weekend. If you are a loser, you are stoked. 420 is tomorrow. It's a Thursday. I'll be at Ampersea in Fells Point on the docks playing 6 to 9.
You got a song coming out on 420.
So
I've heard.
I totally do. Check out the band at Sophomore MD. If you can't spell sophomore, I can't help you. There's 3 O's. That's all I'm going to give you. Sophomore. You've been one before. Spell it. At Sophomore MD. We got a song coming out, I guess if you're listening to this now, today, 420. You're probably high as fuck. You're like, dude, I need a tune to spark to. Turn on Backtrack. It has nothing to do with weed. I don't know if you heard about that. It has nothing to do with weed. But it is a good song. Shouts out to John Burkhart and Joe Niehaus, members of the band. I will also be at, if you're down in Gaithersburg, Montgomery County, are you rich? You're like, dude, I got all this money. I got too much money. Where do I spend it? I'll tell you where. Friday, April 21st. Vine Alley in the Kentlands. Saturday, April 22nd, across the street. I considered getting a hotel in Gaithersburg, but then I thought, wow, I don't know what I'm going to do from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. in Gaithersburg. So I will be driving back down again for Brews and Barrels. Same set, same time, 7 to 10. And of course, all you Towson amigos, Delaney need not apply. Nacho Mamas in Towson. Sunday, April 22nd, 1 to 4. Come in, grab a couple mimosas, maybe a couple tacos. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But yeah, at Sophomore MD, check us out. Songs dropping tomorrow. Be one of our first trillion plays. Maybe. Or just one of our first 10. Probably won't be that hard. Yeah, at LFTS Podcast across the board. Also stay tuned for the Booze Belt Bash. We're still working that out with Rodos down in Fells Point.
We do. We gotta make a trip down to Fells too as the cast.
Yes.
We gotta do a little victory lap around town down there.
I believe so.
I gotta go to Fells Point Tavern, get a water bomb.
I think that should be a new tradition as well for the winning town.
Yeah.
You know, since Fells Point did win the team title in the Baltimore Bar Classic this year, we will be visiting Fells Point and just, yucking it up.
Yeah, shaking hands, kissing babies.
All the above.
Yeah.
But yeah, stay tuned for the drop of the Booze Belt Bash at Rodos in Fells Point. We're going to have music. We're going to have comedy. And it's going to be sweet. Hopefully. Please. Hopefully.
And it won't be a repeat of last year.
Oh,
Hopefully.
it most certainly will not. If you hated last year, you're going to love this year. Until next week, folks.
Peace.
Peace.
Wasn't me, wasn't you. It's the best thing we could do. Fizz it out, fade away.